Hey guys, Mascot here, and today I am back for day number 5 of r/regular revenge. And today I have found 3 stories that I'm gonna read today. But considering the video I just recorded for yesterday, oh my god. First, we'll start off with "You Did It." The crazy son of a bitch, you did it. Laurie Winner buys his former workplace and forces his former boss to wear Mascot. You. Ah, ah, ah. And it's a fucking chicken. It is a chicken. How much money did you spend buying the company, though? That's what I need to know. How much did you buy the company for? How much did you pay for that company? My stepmom is too happy to look handicapped, so an entire lady tries to ruin her life. The universe pulls an Uno reverse card. Ooh, the universe pulling a Uno reverse card, huh? I should apologize because this is my first Reddit post. I just heard about this subreddit and have been enjoying it while I recover from a major surgery, and thought this was something that could be cool to share. Also, I was a lot younger when this happened, so I don't know all the details. So sorry about that too. Also, I kind of ramble a lot, so another thing to be sorry for. Okay, where to begin? My stepmom is one of the nicest people you could ever meet. She is also one of the strongest. Before she became my stepmom, she was previously a single mum of 2 kids and survived and beat breast cancer. A few years later, she and my dad had been together. She had her foot crushed by a forklift while she was at work. She is now permanently handicapped and can no longer work paycheck jobs. She was really scared that my dad was going to leave her because when she was diagnosed with breast cancer, her boyfriend had left her. My dad isn't that type of guy, and they both decided that they were the ones for each other. My stepmom had just had surgery yesterday for her back and will have another one in 2 weeks. This is because when they originally operated on her foot, they fucked up the first surgery and ended up damaging her back as well. God damn it! Despite all this, my stepmom is the happiest and most loving person. I could go on for days about how amazing this woman is. She is loved in the community she lives in, and almost everyone knows her name. I am about as close to her as my real mother. Now cue entitled lady, who I'll refer to as Jerk. My stepmom had just went to the gym. While she can't do traditional workouts, she really finds that swimming is nice and a good way to lose weight while not hurting herself. She had been trying to lose weight and she has lost a lot in that week. She decided that she was going to cheat a little and get a milkshake from a local dive. My stepmom parks in the handicapped parking spot, as she can legally do, and has her auto taken from her car. So far, today has been a really good day for her, so she's even more upbeat and cheerful than usual. Sadly, Jerk wanted to ruin that. Let's see if she succeeds or not. My stepmom noticed a lady standing behind some bushes, almost like she was trying to hide from my stepmom. My stepmom has her window down and she is expecting her milkshake to be ready soon, and here's something really chilling. It went something like this. Yes, I would like to report a regular person parked in the handicap spot. The license plate is My stepmom is shocked. She takes a picture of the woman, very important later, and then goes outside to confront her. The lady sees her approaching her, my stepmom using her cane to help her walk, and bolts it. Like, seriously, you just ran away from a lady with a cane. Well, my stepmom was like, whatever. She was registered as disabled, and the DMV shouldn't have any trouble with a false accusation. Sadly, she was wrong. As she got home after enjoying her milkshake, she was called by multiple different agencies. I don't know all of the details about this, but I do know that my stepmom was at risk for losing her car, disability checks, which she really needs since she can't work, and that they are going to open an investigation on her possible disability fraud. So, a normal person would be infuriated by this and would witch hunt the lady. My mum wasn't angry at all, as she just didn't have it in her. She instead starts to get her evidence that she is disabled by calling her doctors and insurance to acquire physical proof. She was playing the defensive. I know that I am not great at getting to the point, but trust me when I say it is worth it. When my dad gets home from his job, he works in a prison, and sees my stepmom in tears with stacks of papers with her medical history on it, he becomes concerned. My dad is a very rational and often hard to upset man. After hearing this story, however, he loses it. He was probably angry for about 5 minutes until he started asking my stepmom for more details. This is where the revenge starts, even if sort of unintentionally. Ooh. Neither my dad nor stepmom knew anything about this lady, but my stepmom did have photos of her from earlier. My dad takes these photos and writes a huge post on Facebook describing what happened and my stepmom's past and how she did not deserve to have to go through this as well. Now, as I said earlier that my mum was very popular in the community, this is because she organized charity events, would babysit for free, make blankets for homeless people and people in need, and was always there for a friend. This popularity is what made this a revenge story. People banded together and told them who this lady was. Some even posted her address, which my dad deleted from the post because that is just wrong, and was calling her out. Both of my parents thought this was it, and they had gone even in a way that took the moral high ground. But this was just the beginning. 2 days later, while my dad is at work in his office, the sheriff from the community comes to see him. This was really weird since my dad works out of town and in the middle of nowhere. It's a prison. There isn't even an Applebee's out there. It turns out that the sheriff was Jerk's husband. So he is a sheriff. You would expect him to be very respectful and appropriate. Ha! Nope. He is as bad as his wife. He starts yelling at my dad and cursing him out, claiming it's my dad's fault that he and his family were getting death threats. My dad never intended for the family to get death threats, and he even tried to lean people away from this. Apparently, Jerk has had a very difficult 2 days. She lost her job and even got excommunicated from her church. People had also been protesting outside of their house and berating the two. Some people even went as far to throw and break things. They even had their car stolen and vandalized. It had graffiti on it and about how they weren't handicapped enough. Oh my... What? This story is turning into a dumpster fire. The sheriff grabs my dad's shirt and claims he is going to press charges and have him thrown in this prison for something ridiculous like attempted assault. It should also be known that at the time my dad worked at a female prison. My dad just put on a shitty ingredient and said, "I look forward to seeing your wife in here soon." The sheriff flips his shit and actually punches my dad. My dad said he would take 1,000 punches from that sheriff if he could just see the look on his face again. Later, my dad presses charges against the sheriff for assault and harassment. Even before the trial happened, the sheriff retired early without any benefits. My dad later decided to drop charges, though, because through balancing work, court, and my stepmom's upcoming surgery, he can't just do it all. He was happy the arsehole paid the price, though, because now neither had a job, and both were practically ostracized, all because my mum was a milkshake. Later, long after these events, they learned that the reason that my stepmom had gotten all those calls after the lady reported her was because she used her husband to pull some strings. She went so out of her way to hurt my stepmom. Well, it doesn't really matter now because when my dad checked their Facebook page, they had gotten a divorce. The husband had not posted anything in over 6 months, and the jerk was living from paycheck to paycheck while selling some products you would see on Dr. Oz. The jerk also made a post formally addressing what she did to my stepmom, and she only did it because she looked too happy to be disabled. Yeah, because disabled people can't be happy. In the end, my stepmom and dad lived happily ever after. I mean, at least, compared to those two nut jobs. Hey, you look too happy to be disabled. Why are you parking in a disabled spot? Oh, because I have a crushed foot, and a bad back. Oh, those aren't bad enough to warrant you be able to park in the disabled spot. It's like I can relate to disability. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in a previous episode in the Petty Revenge section of this project, where I mentioned that I have a mental disability. I have Asperger's, and all it is that I'm really good at mathematics, but English is something I suck at. That's all I have going for me. And if I was to drive, I would just be like, I don't deserve to have the ability to park in disabled spots. Even though legally I could say I can, because I have a mental disorder. Oh my gosh. Well, I'll do one last story. Want me to abide by the lease instead of a verbal agreement? No problem, but so will you. TLDR at the bottom, and I wouldn't blame you at all for it. I get long-winded when I'm drunk, but screw it, let's get started. Signed the lease on my current apartment on December 27th, 2017. Start date on the lease was the 28th. Did the walkthrough and noted every single thing. Scuff marks, sloppy paint jobs, dozens of nail holes, ding corners, cracked linoleum tiles, stains, spray paint on the doorknobs and microwave, etc., etc. Clearly a classy place. Anyway, I turned in the page and they gave me and another 2 notes of pages listing every single tiny thing that I could find that wasn't perfect. That should have clued them in to the kind of person I am, but guess not. Before the final signing on the 27th, I talked with the apartment manager and asked if I could start bringing stuff in, but not actually take possession until the 1st, since they still needed a day or 2 to shampoo the carpets and repaint some spots. She said, yes, of course, no problem. But the date on the lease was still the 28th of December 2017. I bring boxes on the 28th, plug in the fridge and get it cold for when I bring over foodstuffs on the 1st. Bring over more boxes and call it a day. The 29th, I bring more stuff and check the fridge and notice the fridge is kind of cool and the freezer's room temp. Not cold at all, let alone freezing. I catch the office lady just before they close that day on Friday the 29th. Explained the fridge seemed to be broken. It's a provided appliance, specifically listed in the lease, along with a stove and dishwasher. She says no problem. Asks a maintenance guy to check on it with me. He takes 2 minutes to say it's broken. I'm like, yep, that's why you're here, so how do we fix it? I'm moving in on the 1st. Oh, okay, that's okay. I'll just get a good one from an empty apartment and switch them out. Great. I leave to get more boxes. I'm moving what I can with my car while also working full time, planning to borrow my dad's truck on the 31st to bring over my bed, foodstuffs, and other large furniture. 30th rolls around, still no fridge. Call office. No answer because it's Saturday. 31st, Sunday and New Year's Eve. I bring the rest of my stuff, put food in the kind of cool fridge, hoping it would spoil. Call office again. No answer. Jan 1st, Monday. Surely now I can get some help. Haha, no. New Year's Day. Office is closed, of course. I still drop off rent in the rent box. Jan 2nd, Tuesday. And office is still closed because no one likes to work with a hangover, I guess. Most food now is either definitely off or at the very least untrustworthy. I tossed about $80 worth of food, but not before taking a photo of it all. I am officially pissed off now. Wednesday morning, the 3rd, I'm at the office at 7:55 a.m. just as the apartment manager rolls up to open up for the day. She still looks hungover. Must have been one hell of a New Year's. Meanwhile, I haven't had a working fridge for 3 days that I'm counting and had to toss a lot of food. I'm not happy to say the least. Still, I politely but tersely told her what was going on, showed her a picture of lost victuals, and was promised I'd have a fridge that day. I go to work. Get home about 11 p.m. Still no fucking fridge. I do some Googling, and it takes a while because the info was not readily available, but I finally find the owner's contract info. I call around 1 a.m., leave a detailed and noticeably upset voicemail, and go to bed. Wake up, go to work, come home that night, and finally, the fridge fairy has blessed me with a visit, and I find a working goddamn cold box in my kitchen. It's in the middle of the kitchen floor at a weird angle instead of the spot made for it. But whatever. I'm happy the whole fucking thing is over and I can focus on unpacking. That was Jan 4th, 2018. Needless to say, not a good first impression of the place. Sorry for the long exposition. Now on to the malicious compliance. Oh, this is a cross post from malicious compliance? That's a bit of an odd one to cross. Alright. 2 weeks go by and I come home to a note on the door saying I owed XX.XX in back rent. Back rent? I haven't even been here a whole month yet. I go to the office and see what's up and get told I didn't pay for the first 4 days of my lease and that I had to pay that by the end of the month or face a fine. I tried to remind them that apartment manager said I could take possession on the 1st since they still had to carpet clean and stuff, and was politely told to go suck a dick because the lease says December 28th. Oh, and also, fuck your mother. Well, that's what I heard anyway. But okay, I see now. You want me to abide by the lease? I will, but so will you. I get a money order for the amount and return half an hour later and slam it on the counter. Apartment manager is there too. Kind of avoids my eyes, takes the money order, and starts to walk back to her office. By the way, I'll be deducting 8 days of rent from February's payment. Just a heads up. Cue surprise double take. What? What? Why? You can't just not pay the full amount of rent. You'll be fined. Then I pull out my phone, or reload to the applicable section of our state's landlord laws, and reads the part that basically says if an amenity or appliance provided by the property owner or a guaranteed utility such as water or heat is listed in the lease as being the sole responsibility of the owner, and if that amenity, appliance or utility is unavailable to the tenant for any number of days during their lease with the owner, then the tenant may subtract that many days worth of rent from the next month's rent or receive a refund of the same if it is the last month of their lease. Confused silence. I explain. That means that, as you say, my lease started on the 28th, which means I didn't have a working fridge for the first 8 days of my lease. That is double the amount I just paid you for my back rent. Therefore, come February, I am to legally and rightfully withhold 8 days of rent because you couldn't honour a lease agreement and get me a working fridge the day I asked for it. She kind of shook herself, asked me please wait one moment while she made a phone call. I sit down and pull up Reddit. 10 minutes later she comes out with my money order and asks me to take it back. This was all just a misunderstanding. And let's just forget about all this. Big smiles, hide the panic. I returned her smile and told her I can't do that. That money order is already addressed to the apartment complex. I can't cash or deposit it. And besides, you guys were the ones that said I had to abide by a lease agreement. I just did, and now you will too. Cue cool guy exit, double finger guns, and dozens of cheering onlookers. Pew pew pew! Ha! No. I just got my stuff and said, well, guess I'll see you on the 1st. Have a good one. And I left. Feb 1st rolls around and I drop off my money order for rent, minus 8 days, along with a reminder note of why that is. I didn't hear a fucking single word about it. DLDR, apartment manager says I can take possession of apartment on 1st, even though the lease says 28th. I go without a fridge for 8 days. They hit me with 4 days of back rent as per the lease. I look up tenant laws and hit them with an 8-day reduction of February's rent for not providing a working fridge for 8 days as per the lease. And we got a bit of a bonus story as well. Bonus story. About 6 months in, my toilet starts a micro leak, hairline crack on the inside of the tank. Starts staining the linoleum, and rather than drag it out and get the run around like last time, I write up a note that basically says, pursuant to code 1.42.69. Blah blah blah. If the owner does not complete required repairs within 2 weeks of written notification, tenant may complete those repairs and deduct all related expenses from the next month's rent. I take in the note and present it to the main front desk girl. When asked why I went to all that trouble when all I had to do was submit a maintenance request, I reminded her about the fridge fiasco. Her eyes go wide, and I get told not to worry, they are on it. 3 hours later, I had a new toilet. If you're a renter, look up your tenant laws. They are there to protect you. Oh my gosh. Being lazy is how you lose money. Oh my god. After the stories I've read today, and all the stories I read today, because I do I record 3 in a row for the week, for the day, and I do that 3 times a week. The last story of the last episode and the first long story of this episode is just like, what the actual hell? Oh my gosh. Links will be in the description to my main channel and also this channel that you're on right now that has links on the screen to the playlist and the last episode. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when the next video comes out. A ding, a ding. I'm the Mad Scientist. Mad Scientist out.